What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Maple Minute Podcast. I'm Josh Milken, your host for the podcast here. We're here with Head of Scouting, David Harmon. We're going to talk about Team Canada's U19 journey to the 2025 FIBA World Cup. We had a good run. We went 5-2. I was pretty happy with the performance, especially that USA game. I know me and you were texting during it, and that was a crazy game. I thought we had them. The fouls were a little lopsided, but you can't ever beat the refs. What did you think of the tournament?
I thought the tournament was extremely good, guys that we've talked about for Canada for a long time. It was a good, solid squad. Good, especially when you look at that USA team. You look AJ number one, going to go number one pick. And,
Yeah,
none of our guys are even on the top 100 for class 2026. And I'm like,
yeah,
we're not far behind. We got some guys, I think, that are going to take a shot at the NBA. I'm sure we're going to get to it quickly with some of the players, but there's guys that remind me of guys that just got drafted.
yeah. Oh yeah, like we could have had Will Riley on the thing, right? He got drafted by the Wizards, but I mean, we could have had him. I guess in the same argument, USA could have had Cooper Flag too, because they're both young guys. But like no offense to the coaches at all. Like I like the coaching staff we had. I love Charles. Coach Diaz was good, but like we're going against Tommy Lloyd of Arizona, and like God knows
Oh,
who else is on the staff at US. Like it's
well,
just
and that's the thing. I was just actually looking at their staff because Tommy's from Gonzaga, and I've worked camps with Tommy.
yeah,
He's got Rem, who is a manager at Gonzaga, and now he's lead assistant coach at Baylor,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like they've got a loaded staff too,
absolutely.
with a lot of resources. So
No kidding, unlimited resources down there.
yeah,
So
it's what Tommy does for a living, and
yeah,
is very well compensated for it.
yeah, and you got the Gonzaga jersey back there. What did Tommy Lloyd do? 20 years at Gonzaga? Did he do 2 decades?
When I first left Lakeland in 2009, I had a small town team in Saskatchewan, and we took them down to Gonzaga team camps, and then I started doing individual camps. And Brian Michelson, who's now lead assistant at Concordia at that time, was like, "David, you're too good to be just chaperoning," and then he hired me for individual skills camps. And after COVID, I was lucky enough they let me bring my son, and he got to go to a couple of camps and meet all the players. So I've hung out with David Stockton, Kevin Pangos, who you guys know out east. I hopefully they picked up a Canadian. They've only not had a Canadian one time in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Next year's looking like the second year.
they had Nemhard last year. He's now signed a two
Yeah.
with the Mavericks. So congratulations to him. That's incredible.
Yeah, Ryan's not a fan of mine, but when I keep calling him Andrew, I deserve it.
Well, that's how it goes, right?
You forget because
So many names to
he was
keep
on
track of.
campus.
Yeah. So many
Drew
names.
Timmy, one of the greats.
Drew Timmy's
Great
awesome. I've
kid.
always loved Drew Timmy, man.
Well,
Hopefully,
it's so funny. We talk about this, the states, the NIL, the difference. So players used to have to work camps.
yeah,
Like Rob Sacre is a very good friend of mine.
nice.
Always at camp reffing because they'd be able to give the players some money. The
Yeah,
players reffing got paid a lot more than I did coaching.
yeah,
But now with NIL, they don't work camps. So they come in. My son's favorite player, Julian Strother, do an hour, leave.
yeah.
Drew Timmy came and ate lunch with the kids every freaking day.
That's awesome.
Hung out for like 2 hours, five straight. So did him and Anton Watson.
Just
And
high
just
character guys. Like,
different breed Gonzaga guys like
absolutely.
that.
Well,
Because I think they said Drew was making just over 1 million his last year because of his
Jesus.
personality. Brand's couldn't take him, so
Yeah.
it was awesome,
$1 million playing college ball is crazy.
isn't it?
It is.
But
He earned it
thinking of
though.
Gonzaga, actually going back to the World Cup,
Yeah.
man, does Jordan Charles remind me of Ryan Nemhart?
Yeah. Eh? I
Oh
think
my! We talk about guys in the NBA. Jordan Charles just jumped off the freaking page to me. I was like, he is just like Ryan, a little bit undersized, but goes.
goes and he's fearless and he's just a gamer. Like he just shows up in the big games. Like he's not gonna blow you away on paper with like his like athleticism or his height, like we mentioned, but like he just comes to play and like does it the right way. And like he's been on Team Canada since I started doing the scouting stuff. So like for at least 3 or 4 years now. Like he's been representing us in a big way. And he always reps Canada pretty good. Like he was at Basketball Without Borders, and I was listening to a couple NBA big board podcasts, and they were mentioning Jordan Charles like by name, saying he was a big standout. Like so and so won MVP, but Jordan Charles was one of the big names they wanted to pencil in. So I'm really
Fun.
high on Jordan.
Well, last year, just doing the nationals for you guys for Team Ontario. I was kind of wondering going into this because I don't get to see a lot of these guys.
Yeah,
Jordan's from Team Ontario playing other Canadian provinces to playing other countries, exact same. He
yeah,
just plays. He
yeah,
went out and balled. It looked the exact same as playing for Ontario. He just doesn't seem to care the opposition.
yeah.
I'll be interesting. Is he with the Arizona United or
He's with
Unity?
yeah, he's with
So
AZ
will he be down at
Unity.
the Peach Jam?
He will be down at Peach Jam. Yeah,
Oh, I'm gonna tune in to see him play those big boys because I'd like to see how he probably the exact same. That's just kind of the kid he is, it seems.
yeah. Well, like he's playing with good players. Like he played at Bella Vista too this year, so he's playing with all those Canadian guys, but they're playing down in the states in the Nike UIBL Scholastic. So he's not afraid of anybody. Like even you saw that 3-pointer he hit over AJ where he kicked his leg out and then right in his face, and then he gave the celebration afterwards.
Yeah,
And was like, man, Jordan is super special. So yeah,
yeah.
the tournament ran June 28th to July 6th. Just finished up the other day. Went group stages. We had a tough group that me and you were talking about before the call got on. Knockout rounds and then the classification where we ended up finishing fifth. But I thought we had some good outings. Like I definitely like the China game was a good start. Beat up on Slovenia. Tough one against U.S. Took care of Australia. Took care of was it Sweden we played too or no? We played Switzerland.
Switzerland. We beat
Yeah,
up Switzerland real bad in the
yeah, like
yeah.
fifth place. I mean, you were saying like I think we're basically third place because we beat Slovenia, who came in third. Fifth place out of 16 teams is nothing to bat your eye at. Like that's pretty impressive stuff.
Oh yeah, and we talk about Jordan being second team, but they give teams based on results. So Slovenia got the other first team spot, two
Yeah,
Germans, two Americans, and I was super impressed with the Germans. That's a good loss for us. That team's got a couple guys we're going to see in the NBA too.
yeah, Christian
So
Anderson for sure.
yeah, the
Yeah,
two teams we lost to are no joke. I
no
think
joke at
being the
all.
third best team, and we're consistent. Germany and those European countries have a good team, and then they go down for a while. Canada's top five consistently. We're other than the U.S., we're the second best program, I think, in that age group.
Yeah, well, like yeah, I think U.S. and Germany, I feel like that in that age group, like you said, like Germany had some. They're disciplined. They moved the ball well, and they had two standouts. I can't pronounce the one white guy's name, but I know Christian Anderson. I've been reading a lot about him. So yeah, they had some players for sure.
Well, I think people don't understand. Canada and U.S. work different in those tournaments, right? We practice and we show up and we play. All those European teams practice for months.
Yeah,
And
no,
we
for
don't quite have the talent of the U.S., but we try to run a U.S. style, which is why the China game was tough and the guys pulled it out and showed some real grit. Because
yeah,
that's their first real game together. Like
yeah,
we're comparing ourselves, I see on Twitter, to European teams that practice for months. That team just got put together.
yeah,
They're trying to
yeah.
remember each other from last year's qualifyings.
And
And they
like
grew as the tournament went.
I don't think any of them play on the same like team. I know there's Matt Dan from Fort Erie and Tristan Beckford from Fort Erie, but they play on two separate Fort Erie programs. So the chemistry is not quite there yet. I know Charles does a good job of like bringing the locker room together. Great coach, big fan of him. He's going to Pacific next year, so congratulations to him. Going to be missed at Fort Erie without a doubt. But I mean, the roster we brought down, I thought we built it pretty well.
Although we could have consistency if South Florida keeps taking all our guys.
No kidding, South
Three
Florida
guys
keeps
on one
getting,
Canada team going to the same NCAA program.
and
And
then
they offered Jordan Charles.
they picked up Josh Ohm Jaffa out of Burlington, who's at Robert Morris last year, who had a deep run, and they gave Alabama a fight in March Madness, game one.
We're gonna have some Team Canadas in the NCAA. We're gonna have to talk about come NCAA preview podcast.
Absolutely, we will. Yeah, no, 100%. So, like, yeah, let's just talk about like some of the guys who stood out to you throughout the 7 day tournament. Who
Well,
caught
I
your
think the
eye?
most obvious one, other than Jordan, who did make the All-Star team, I thought Tristan Beckford was right there for an All-Star team.
Yeah,
He showed up when it mattered. He had really good games. I wasn't familiar with his game, but big, strong boy. I really like Tristan's game. You're probably way more familiar with than me, but I think he's going to do well at South Florida. We're going to be seeing his name a lot.
yeah. No, I've been watching Tristan since like his days at Houghton Prep. He was playing for Gus there, and then he went down to was it Hillcrest, some team in the states? Yeah, Hillcrest, and he came back to Fort Erie and was banged up a little bit during the year, but ended up like playing really well in the All Canadian game. Do you see that one pass where he threw the fake behind the guy's back? He ball faked it.
Yeah,
The kid turned right around. laid it up. Like he was catching lobs. Like I love Tristan. I thought another no brainer for me that we see all the time in Ontario at least is Efeosa. Was at overtime elite last year and then finished up with a kind of like a farewell tour, playing with William Academy, playing with his friend Tristan Beckford, Keani Sacco. Had a good year. I saw him down in Rhode Island. Played really well. Was one of the most athletic guys there by far. Crazy dunks and that one putback he had, where he kind of like put it up on a platter like this. He caught it off the 3 point, off the rebound, the putback, and hammered it home. I was like,
Oh,
holy smokes, man!
and he started a point guard, right? They brought Jordan off the bench, and
Yeah,
I don't know if he's a natural point guard and that's his position, but he played it really well in the starting minutes, and then he slid over and played beside Jordan when he came in, and he was really effective in that role. I
yeah.
can really see him doing something at Butler. Like once again, we're talking big time programs for some of these guys.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we mentioned, like USF has got a bunch of our guys, but we had Butler commit, we had Sam Houston commit. The guy played on Florida, won a national championship. I know Olivier Rudin didn't see the floor at all this year. He redshirted, but he still got to learn with those guys and multiple NBA draft picks. Raptors picked up one of his teammates, Elijah Martin, shooting guard there at the Florida Gators. So he'll be a good pickup for the Raptors. But I mean, there's some pieces on that team. And then in all honesty though, like David, I was like thinking like, man, like the 7 footers we had, I was happy with their performance and like they all had flashes. But when we were playing Team USA, if it was me, maybe I'm just old school, I would have just let the 7 footers foul guys hard first quarter. You're just gonna go up. Anyone that goes to the rim, put them on their ass and
Well,
just
and I think that's some guys were arguing the 50 fouls I saw online. I've had arguments that problem. Our 7 footers were a step slow in the fourth quarter in the US. AJ and them attacked them, and they
yeah,
got themselves to the line because Oliver, Maxime, Dan, they were just a step slow. But
yeah,
these are 18-year-olds that are 7 foot. I can't imagine the coordination, and they're growing into their bodies.
yeah,
But yeah, they should have established in the fourth quarter, first quarter. And then maybe we played maybe Onyx at center in the fourth quarter. But
yeah. I
I
thought
know our coaches are coaches and we can always check them out. But yeah, they were just a step slow, and some of those Americans were just beasts. And AJ Demansky, he's number one for a reason. He knew to attack the crap out of them,
yeah.
and they were always a step slow, and those fouls were legit fouls.
Yeah, some were legit fouls. I think the one near the end where Jordan Charles got the pull and Spencer Aarons was setting the screen, he did a little dribble handoff, and then they called a foul, and then AJ went down. I think it was AJ who was guarding him, but it just
Oh
like
yeah.
pulled the guy down. I was like, we can't call this with a minute to go in the game. Like it's just like
Oh,
let the
for
guys
sure. I
play a
thought the
little bit.
perimeters, but I thought anything that got attack in the baskets, like our
Yeah.
guys were a step slow on all of those. It's hard to really argue with the refs.
And the reason I said like the 7 footers should just foul guys off the start, kind of set a tone. I know we might get into a little bit of foul trouble, but the fouls are reset at half. You'll go out a bonus. You can hang with them, and our shooting performance was excellent. Like we shot the ball really well, but I think if we like USA didn't really have like a 7 footer walking around. They had some 6'10" guys, but they moved like guards. Like there was no
Yeah.
like paint presence in the paint, just like defending everybody. Like every one of their guys could play inside, outside. They were really athletic. So like I would have liked to see more Jayon Pitt. I would like to see a lineup of Jayon Pitt, Efeosa, Tristan, Jordan Charles, and even Adriel, who played really well out of Ottawa, or Onyx, like you said. I think we had like Maxime is a year younger than all those guys except for Jordan. Like him and Jordan are both 2026s.
Well,
Maxime
and Stefan was the 27, but he didn't
27 for
really play
Steph.
all week.
Yeah,
But
we had some young pieces. So like later on in the podcast, I want to kind of bring up like maybe one guy that you would like to see on the team. We don't have to remove a guy or anything because they're still kids, right? They're like you just
yeah,
mentioned, they're 18-year-old kids. So we're not gonna harp on anybody too bad. But I mean, I got some stuff I want to talk about later on in the podcast. Maybe one guy you would like to see playing
yeah.
Team Canada. But yeah, like any other games that specifically stood out to you when you were watching? I know we got a good 7 games in 7 days.
No, we had the Slovenia. I thought we really struggled to shoot all tournament. Our 3 point stats were not very good. We had
Yeah,
one game. The US we did shoot well,
we did
which
shoot all
kept us in that game.
Yeah,
So, and that's funny because we have always had shooters in Canada, but we didn't seem to quite have the shooters, the consistent shooters we need other than Spencer.
yeah,
God, can Spencer shoot the crap? If anybody's read your stuff, you've been on this
yeah. No,
for a year. I was excited to see Spencer because I've read so much about him. I know you're a huge fan, and he can shoot the lights out, but Jordan
It's
was
a
hot or cold, and so hopefully our shooting, and we keep working on that. We kind of needed a second shooter besides Spencer on that bench that we
yeah.
just knew it's going to knock down 40 to 50%.
Well, like I just remember the days when we had Brady Heslip, who went like, and then we had like even the past years at U19 was TJ Hurley from Vermont. Like we had a knockdown shooter, and Jordan Charles is a great shooter. He can shoot the ball pretty well, but he's also doing a lot of the leg work, getting it over half against those 6, 7 guards, like we said, that are just big boys and they got the length on them and stuff like that. But he didn't back down from any challenges. So yeah, I think one more shooter maybe instead of the three centers. But I mean, what can you do, right? We got good pieces, and I was really happy to see everybody. Spencer did look pretty good. I wish he was a little bit more assertive, just kind of like take the ball more into his own hands. But he plays the right way. He wants to move the ball. He wants to play team basketball. He's never going to try and put up 25 shots a game or anything like that. He's more of a 10 to 12 shot a game kind of guy. He's very humble. I've known him since like his ninth grade days. Wrote an article about him the other day for Made Hoops website, but I've been following him since my guy Rich Adu, who played at Siena. He told me about him and said, keep an eye on this kid. And I kept an eye on him, and he was legit as
I'm excited to see him at Boise. Boise's
yeah.
got a coaching staff full of Gonzaga alumni, so they're one of my programs I follow closely.
And they've always had a couple Canadians. They had
Yeah,
Abu Kigab or Kajab, or I'm not sure if I pronounced his last name, but yeah, Abu and Manuel Acott. They had a bunch of Canadians. They've always had Canadian ties.
no, they're gonna be good.
So yeah, like we said, we already have a bunch of commitments on that team. I just want to know, like, what do you think the future looks like for guys like Stefan Illich or Jordan Charles? Like, I know Jordan Charles picked up 5 offers this tournament. He's already had 3 more before that. Maxime, I think, played his way into some.
Yeah, he was a surprise for me, Maxine. I didn't know much about him out of the
Yeah,
States. He's a nice player.
yeah.
The other one that really shocked me that I didn't know was the other class 2026 is a lot of kids. I've seen their names on lists, and for one to make the team, Aziz.
Oh yeah, Elijah one's kids. Yeah, yeah. No, that
Yeah,
was he did.
6'6". He was long. He struggled shooting the ball from three, but his mid range and yeah, we got Akeem Olajuwon's kids, and he's got a younger brother going to play for Canada. I think,
Yeah,
he
you got to run
speaks
with that.
volumes for us. They go to
Absolutely.
private schools in the States. They could probably do what they want,
Yeah.
but they've at U19 made this choice. They're on our list. They're playing for us, and I think that's speaks volumes about where the program is.
No, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I was like he kind of came into the picture like maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, I didn't know he was Canadian, but I guess Elijah one played for the Raptors for a little bit there, so he was born in
Yeah.
Toronto.
Well, interesting enough, when we're researching him, I've got my researcher, my son Jackson, on our team over here
Yeah,
sending me notes actually.
that's awesome.
He has the exact same birthday as Aziz, February 15th, 2007.
Oh yeah,
So we had a hospital in Lloydminster and a hospital in Toronto, apparently.
yeah.
He said he didn't get any of the athletics or the height. I guess I'm not as good a dad as Akeem.
I don't know about all that, but so yeah, like I think the U19 team played pretty well. I think, like we said, I think Jordan's going to skyrocket. I think the offers are going to get better and better, and nothing against the schools. I'm a big fan of St. Bonaventure. They've been really tapped into Canadians now that Adrian Wojnarowski's there. Everybody knows about Woj, but I think USF has tapped into the Canadians good. Stonehill has a Canadian head coach, so they were looking at him pretty good. I just think the offers are going to get better and better for Jordan, and I'm really happy to see that because I've been following him since the ninth grade when he first made the All Canadian game. He was playing for United Scholastic, and super humble kid, super approachable, but like an absolute killer on the court.
No, and I think I've talked to people and they don't understand these offers. These are good schools for our guys, especially with the transfer portal. Like I know talking to my guys at Gonzaga, they're not recruiting a lot of high school. They want transfer portal. So for Jordan to go to Tristan and have a good year and then transfer to a major program, rather than go to a major program, sit on the bench, as we saw. I love him. I've met him numerous times. Hudson Ward, go to a big program, Penn State, but now he transferred down a little bit to a mid-major, and
Yeah,
maybe he'll be back up. So I think as Canadians, we watch March Madness and we're not as smart about basketball. I
yeah,
think we are.
yeah,
These are good programs. These are going to play and then they're going to have a chance. Transfer portal is different. We talked about it last podcast. They'll have a majors from you didn't just pick these schools, and they're very good schools to start with.
yeah. No, I think I agree. Like I don't think it's beneficial for these guys to go to these high level programs right out of high school. Like unless you're absolutely totally gifted, but I mean like I always make the reference to Leonard Miller. Like we had Leonard Miller who was like ranked number one in the States and in Canada. Like he was just by far the best player. And now he's a two-way guy for the Timberwolves. And so it's just like a lot of these kids think they're going to go D1 and just make an impact right away. And it's just not like that. Like the game is getting way older. The guys that are getting drafted these at this past draft and what was it June 25th? Like we had like guys getting picked and they're 24 years old, 20, 23 years old. And like that never happened 10 years ago. It was all 18, 19-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids. But now they're getting older. The game's getting older. NIL is keeping players a lot longer. We've had the lowest numbers enter the draft in the past like 7 or 8 years. I think there's like under 100 people in the draft this year. And usually it's like upwards of three.
Yeah, there we go. 126 entered the draft. Human
126.
calculator sitting over beside me.
Nice. Um, so yeah, like if you were a college coach, maybe we'll go aside from Jordan Charles. Who was the player that kind of stood out to you the most, that catches your eye, and why do you think that?
Um, I really liked Maxine Meyer. I didn't know a lot about him, playing for a big time program in Florida. Near 7 foot, if he's not 7 foot.
Yeah, I think he's
Moved
7'1".
extremely well. He played with a lot of grit and hustle coming in. Especially you have to change it up. We decided to start Oliver, which 7'9", and
Mm-hmm.
Oliver things, but he came in and he added a level of. And I just liked his mindset, the way he impacted the game every time he subbed in at 5, 6 minute mark for Oliver and created that little bit higher level, which, sometimes big men don't play with that harder hustle. They just expect I'm 7 foot, I'm going to get down. So
Yeah,
I was really impressed with him as somebody I had no clue about before this started.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, playing with like Brookwood Elite and Lou Dort Elite, and then playing like you said, a high level program in IMG in Florida there. I think I know like my biggest standout. Like I've been always been a real fan of Jayon Pitt out of Bella Vista. Committed to ASU for like a cup of coffee, and then he transferred over to Pacific. I think once Charles ended up there, so I think that's a great level for him. He's an absolute like dog. I know people are saying dog all the time, but I think he's like a true dog. Like he's a workhorse. He's not afraid of anybody. He can guard a five, a small ball five. Like there's a 6'9", 6'10" center on the team. He can guard that kind of a player. He can also switch down off a screen and guard a two. I think he plays like a three or a four. I know a lot of his coaches are trying to push him to be more of a two because that whole like these 6'7" guards and these 6'8" guards and stuff like that. But I've always been a big fan of Jayon. Excited to see him under Charles and Dave Smart next year at Pacific. I think that's a great fit for him. Next question.
Play of the tournament too.
What's that?
On their top 10 list, he got
Oh
with
yeah,
that the interception and three. That I was on the FIBA website, the number one play of the tournaments, and that showed his athleticism, right?
yeah,
They threw that ball up USA at halftime. He went up and got it like a DB and then flipped it towards the rim.
yeah,
Extremely athletic, extremely smart play.
yeah, and like super humble kid as well. Like I think that's one thing you can say about the Team Canada guys is like they're just super humble, super happy to be there. They all represented Canada really well. What's as a former coach yourself? What's one adjustment you would have made um, to kind of maybe secure a medal for us?
I just think we needed to switch up our defenses a little bit, like Germany and US. They were able to get to the rim. We needed to find a way on the perimeter to contain those guards and keep them away from our big men.
Yeah,
So if it was random double teams or maybe a little bit of looks at zones, but they were just, we talked about Anderson from Germany and AJ from States, although they're just superior athletes. They're going to be very top end draft picks, but
yeah,
we had to find a way to keep them out of the paint. They caused absolute chaos when they got there. So we
mm-hmm.
needed just in those two games with those superior athletes, a little bit different look at how do we deal with somebody that good at the point to keep
Yeah,
them out.
yeah. And my biggest changeup would be like kind of just going a little bit smaller ball, saving the 7 footers for separate occasions. I just would like to see a little bit of a smaller lineup go against USA. Wasn't crazy about like the switches, like not the switches, but the substitutions. They seem like the substitutions kind of didn't really. like keep the flow of the game going for us. I think we kind of sub guys out and kind of killed streaks. And but like I said, I'm an armchair guy. I'm just sitting at home watching the game. So these coaches
Well,
more than me for sure.
and I don't know if it's the philosophy of Team Canada. Looking at the stats, we were second in the tournament in points per game as a team, but we had nobody in the top 30 in scoring because we had seven guys play over 20 minutes a game and 11 guys play over 10.
Wow. So yeah, we went
So
deep into the
in
bag
the US, I was watching our game against us. They played seven players against us basically,
the whole time. Yeah.
and we're playing 11.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if that's the philosophy of Canada basketball, which I like with these young guys. Let's let them all have a chance to showcase. They've made commitments to drive over there and leave their AAU programs. So, if we get third place, but we get to allow 11 players to play,
Yeah.
I can live with that if that's the philosophy they went with.
Absolutely. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, like kind of last question on the podcast for us. One player that you would have liked to see suit up for Team Canada. I'll go first on this one. I would really love to see Kieran Mullen out there. I think Kieran Mullen's been getting looked over left, right, and center. He's a 7 footer. He can play. He's a four. He's like a four man. I think he can play to five if you really wanted him to, but I think he's a four. He's committed to Pitt for next year. He's one of our only high major commits in the class of 2025. Played for a Hall of Fame coach down in St. Thomas More. He plays for Jerry Quinn. So I just thought like he can stretch the floor. He's the same height as Matt Dan. He's the same height as Maxime. He's nowhere near the same height as Olivier because Olivier's like a
Yeah,
giant. But I mean,
he's
he's a
a
seven.
freak. Nobody's that way.
Yeah, he's a legit 7 footer. He can shoot the ball. I've seen him go through the legs. I've seen him do reverse dunks. I've seen him do all kinds of stuff. Freak athlete. I really would like to see him suit up for Canada, and I really want to see him in the all Canadian games as well. I think he got overlooked kind of when you're playing down the states. I don't know if it's that Xavier Lee effect where you go down to the states and guys don't see you as much on social media or they can't get to your games because you're down in the states. So you kind of get pushed to the wayside. But I think Kieran Mullen would have made a bit of a difference for us there. He's kind of like a Spencer Aaron's Maxime hybrid. He's like Maxime's height, but he's got Spencer Aaron's kind of skill set, I think. So I think he would have been a great pickup for us. Who would you have liked to see out there?
Well, show a little bit of bias, maybe not the skill level. I'm not going to second guess the team, but the only player from out west was Onyx, who has played in the States for 3 years now.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen TJ Wall out
yeah,
there. I love TJ. His skill set's incredible. He can shoot the ball. He was with the U18s last year when they qualified, so love TJ. As your Saskatchewan rep, I'm going to say I would love to see Kean Tyson, although I know he's a step below this,
yeah.
but I'm always going to rep my guys. That's what we do out
Absolutely,
here.
that's what
So,
we do here,
but
man.
yeah, TJ and
Yeah,
that and the other one, Jackson just sent me a question here. Where was Miles Sadler?
yeah. That's a great question. That's
We
a
talking about
phenomenal
shooting. Where
question.
was
Yeah,
because he
like
didn't play for Ontario last year either. I haven't got a chance to really watch Miles play, and I see
yeah.
him on ranking lists all over the place.
No, he lives up to the hype. Like he's an incredible point guard. I'm not sure where he was. Another guy people were talking about was Justice Hazley with Royal Crown. He's supposed to be one of the top point guards, still unsigned. So would have been nice to see him out there. I think that would have raised his stock a little bit if he played well. But it's hard to deny. Like Adriel Niora, what a Winston Salem going to USF next year. He's 6'5". He played really well. He had passed the
Yeah.
ball well. He was getting to the rim, finishing above the rim. And Jordan Charles is undeniable. So I'm not sure what I don't build the team. I'm not sure how,
Yeah.
but I just like I would have loved to see Miles too. That kind of went right
Well,
over.
Miles must have been unavailable. I don't think they didn't take him.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting looked over by any means.
And the other one that I could see just seeing on ranking lists is instead of Stefan Illich, even though he didn't play, was where was Paul Asari? If you're going to take a super young guy that's highly ranked,
Yeah, Paul,
Paul, Paul's the same
absolutely.
height and he's been talked about. So you're going to take an extra big.
Yeah,
Paul may have been able to make an impact and pass some guys.
yeah. No, Paul's incredible. Paul's like ranked in like the top five in his class. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, no,
So,
absolutely.
so no, it'll be good. Like it's always nice. So, I know Canada basketball, but the talent was in Ontario this year. It's always nice. I know Onyx. It's funny. I've talked to his high school coach. He was one of my former assistant coaches at O'Leary. He talks about how much Onyx has grown.
Yeah,
from the grade 10 that forgot his shoes every third game to a D1 prospect. I'm sure
Yeah,
Onyx will be so happy I just said that on a podcast.
yeah.
That was Josh Onyx, not me.
Well, they all grow up. We all they're kids. We got to remember that they're kids at the end of the day, and like they're learning everything. And
Oh
this is
yeah.
like we just talked about with the transfer portal. Like it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not going to go to North Carolina right off the hop and play 25 minutes a night. Like there's
And,
next to no high school kids that are going to do that. Cooper
and
flags
you
you down.
forget, I think we forget a lot of these are kids. I know in the middle of the tournament, I happened to post something about Jordan Charles, and he sent me back a message because you remember me covering on Canada basketball last year.
Yeah,
And I sometimes forget, I'm like, oh, they're just kids, and I remember you said nice things about them. I'm thinking, oh, he's like NCAA superstar.
yeah,
He's too busy. His mentions are getting blown up, but they're kids, and they see this stuff, and we got to try to be as positive as we can. Great kids
absolutely.
too.
No, absolutely. Great group of guys. Really proud how we finished 5-2. Top five team out of 16 teams across the world. Biggest stage going in the summertime. So really happy with how that tournament went, and would have liked to medal, but I mean, fifth place, they're in last place.
And I think we medal. We got the draw. I don't know how they do it. I know they got formulas at the FIBA level, but getting in Germany's group and then somehow second place in the best group gets the US in the quarterfinals
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make a lot of sense, as we
Doesn't make
said.
it. Yeah.
No offense to Israel, but they won their pool and kind of got a berth all the way to the semifinals.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Um, yeah, no, that's basically it for covering this FIBA tournament. Thanks everybody for listening. David Harmon here. Where can we find you on Twitter, David?
David_Harmon on Twitter, same on Instagram, and we'll keep working. It's a little bit slow time, but we're starting to get previews. I know Saskatchewan and Manitoba played the Prairie Cup Classic last weekend. Uh, Manitoba looks very good, so we'll start getting ready for the Canada games and taking a look at some rosters. I'm here in Nova Scotia, looked really good in some exhibition games, so start looking at who's the next generation and who's playing at the Canada games at the first week of August.
First week of August. Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can follow us on the Maple Minute on Twitter, the Maple Minute on Instagram, TMM Recruiting on Twitter as well. Check out our website, themapleminute.com. Dave is dropping articles. We got lots of scouts dropping articles on there. We're just trying to give guys exposure. Like the game's changed since I was playing, since you were coaching. Like the game's changed night and day. So like we're just trying to shine light on these talented Canadians and give them a chance. So that's what we're trying
And
to do.
not all of them we talk about. We try to shine light on all of them. Remember, these guys are D1 and they're going to be great, and we love following them. But the guys who make ACAC or OCAA, they're still playing basketball and they worked hard to get it. So,
Absolutely.
you
And
know,
we've
we
never,
all believe in shining the light on anybody that makes the commitment and makes the next level from the top to the bottom.
absolutely. Yeah, we never discriminate. Like we want to just see guys play college basketball, whatever level that may be. And there's no discrimination here. We'll help you find a JUCO. We'll help you find a U Sports team. Whatever we can do to help, we're always around. Um, Shoot us a line on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it takes, and get a hold of us. Thank you for listening to the Maple Minute podcast. We'll catch you next week with some more content.